Hey everyone, Krista here, and Kelly Park Rock Springs is an incredible park that features a natural lazy river. If you're looking for a beautiful place to get away for the day, I'm going to go over all of the details to help you decide if this might be a great choice for you and your family. So let's get into it. Kelly Park is located in Apopka, Florida, which is about an hour north of Orlando and is where the beautiful Rock Springs Run originates. Kelly Park is a beautiful 355-acre site that was donated by Dr. Howard Kelly in 1927 for the use as a public park and wildlife preserve. The pristine Rock Springs Run is a natural 9-mile river that flows the boundary between Wekiva Springs State Park and Rock Springs Run State Reserve and flows into the Wekiva River and then empties into St. Johns River. Kelly Park is open every day of the year from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. during the winter and 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. during the summer. It's only $3 per vehicle for entry for 1 to 2 passengers or $5 for up to 8 passengers, which makes this a great, inexpensive way to spend the day with the family. However, the first thing that you should know about this park is that it's extremely popular. And in most of the springs that we visit, you'll hear me suggest that you'll want to get there early to beat the crowds. However, during the peak spring and summer seasons, if you want to visit Kelly Park, then it's required to get there at least a couple of hours before the park even opens, just to make sure that you can get in at all. We actually needed 2 trips to film this video because I didn't even get in there the first time. The park opens at 8 a.m., so we thought 7:30 might be early enough to get in, but look at this line of cars. It goes on for miles. So we ended up having to just scrap the whole thing that day and try another day. So it's a little after 5 a.m. right now, and we're still not the first ones in line. We just got our ticket to get in, so we made it. So the way this works is that around 6:30 a.m., they start handing out tickets to the first 280 cars in line. These first 280 cars will be the only ones allowed in the park when it opens, and then the entrance will close for the morning until 2 p.m. The next 50 cars in a line after this will also get a voucher to gain access after 2 p.m. when the park reopens. So if you don't get one of these vouchers, then you're out of luck for the day. Once you do make it into the park, you'll see a concession stand right next to the parking lot where you can get things like burgers, fries, hot dogs, as well as other items like sunscreen and bug spray, and you'll also be able to rent lockers. You can also pick up a free map here to give you the lay of the land. And just down the hill from the concession is where you'll find the swimming area. This is a beautiful area with bridges and areas to lay down a blanket and just hang out for the day. You will find lifeguards all throughout the area, and they're stationed all along the lazy river. The river flows through the swimming area, but you want to follow this trail here to get to the main head springs where the lazy river begins. The spring head area is just stunning and pumps out an incredible 26,000 gallons of spring water every minute. The water is crystal clear and stays a constant 68 to 72 degrees all year round. And the tropical vegetation here just makes it feel like it's a slice of paradise. There's also a cave in the back here which is blocked off to keep people from disturbing the sensitive habitat. This is where you can launch with a tube to float down the lazy river. We actually found it easier to get in on this side of the bridge where it's a little shallower and there's not as many rocks as they can get pretty slippery. The lazy river runs about 3/4 of a mile long, and the float takes about 20 minutes to get from the head springs all the way down to the end pier. And you'll need to bring your own tubes or noodles to the park. Kelly Park doesn't have any rentals here, but there is a few rental places just right outside the park, or you could just bring your own from home, which is what we did. Just keep in mind that the floats cannot exceed 5 feet in length or width. And one tip that I discovered while we were here is that you might want to use a typical tube that has the hole in the middle, as the tubes we had the middle closed up, which made it really great for kind of lounging around, but it also made it very hard to steer as you're making your way down the river. I was constantly finding myself in the weeds as I made my way down and getting stuck on every corner of this river. So if you don't want to end up like me, I highly recommend bringing just a regular tube instead of a lounging one. And if you're finding this information helpful, I would love it if you could hit that like button and subscribe if you would love to see more amazing places like this to explore in my beautiful state of Florida. I release a new video every week, and the best way to be able to see them is by subscribing. Once you do make it all the way to the end, there's a short trail to walk back, which is about a 10-minute walk to get you to the front to be able to do it all over again. In addition to the tubing and swimming areas, there's also 7 miles of trails that you can walk through within the park. These paths are well taken care of and actually gives you a little bit of elevation as you walk over water basins beneath you. Just make sure to bring plenty of water, sunblock, and bug spray. If you do want to explore more of the beautiful Rock Springs Run, you do have the option to go kayaking or canoeing down the rest of the river. There are no kayak rentals at Kelly Park, however, just 2 minutes down the road is King's Landing, which is a private rental company where you can rent kayaks and canoes. When you launch from King's Landing, you'll head down their small canal, and when you get to the end of it, you'll have 2 directions that you can go. If you head to the right, you'll enter into the famous Emerald Cut section. This breathtaking oasis features crystal clear waters and lush tropical landscapes that makes you feel like you just kayaked into a jungle paradise. If you head over to the left from King's Landing, you'll experience a completely different side of the river that opens up and introduces you to a bunch of wildlife in this calm and peaceful setting. On average, it takes most guests about 3 to 3.5 hours to paddle both the left and the right side. And all the rentals are for about 4 hours, so that gives you plenty of time to explore both sides of the river. I do have another video that goes over King's Landing exclusively, so if you want more details on kayaking and canoeing, I'll leave a link to the video in the description below. If you are planning on visiting Kelly Park Rock Springs, here are a few things to keep in mind. My number 1 tip is to arrive really early, especially during the peak spring and summer season. You'll want to get there a few hours before the park opens to even get a chance to get in the park. The first 280 cars will get a voucher to get in at opening, and another 50 cars will get a voucher to get in after 2 p.m. So if you don't arrive early enough to get one of these vouchers, you're out of luck. You might be safe to arrive maybe around 6 a.m. and still be able to get in, but people are known to start arriving before 5 a.m. and sometimes as early as 4:30. So the earlier you get there, the better chance that you'll have at getting into the park. One thing you should know is that once you do have your ticket, you do have the option to leave and come back later in the morning. So if you want to get there really early and just grab a ticket and then go get breakfast before the park opens, you'll still be allowed into the park in the morning as long as you have one of these tickets. However, if you do get into the park and leave at any time, you won't be allowed re-entry regardless of if your party's still inside. You'll also want to make sure that you bring your own tubes or pool noodles. There's no rentals here in the park, so either bring them from home or you can rent one from one of the local businesses that are just outside of the park. Also, don't forget to bring your pumps to be able to air them up. There are also no pumps available here for you to use, so you'll be stuck blowing them up manually without a pump. Also, keep in mind that there's no alcohol or pets that are allowed in the park other than service animals, but you are allowed to bring your own grill or pop-up shelters as long as they stay within the picnic area. And finally, the last question that I typically always get is, are there alligators? And the answer is yes. You can always safely assume that in any body of water in Florida that there's going to be alligators or snakes, no matter how big or small. However, it's not common to see them in the Springs area, and the park has a lot of protocols that are in place if there is any wildlife in the area, and will shut down the spring if necessary. They will do everything they can to make sure that you stay safe. If you made it this far in the video, I would love to hear from you on Instagram at Krista Travels, where I post daily content on the videos that I'm working on, so make sure to stop by and say hello. If you are looking for even more beautiful springs to explore in Florida, then you're in luck because I've got an entire playlist for you that just popped up on the screen. In this playlist, I'm going to take you through a number of incredible springs that you can find in Central Florida. Until next time, everyone, I hope you have an amazing day and go out and enjoy some Florida sunshine.